Why am I trying to put so much into creating a book when I can't even read the stacks of books that I've ordered? Life is busy. I've got things to do that just sitting down and reading doesn't always top my list. And I might get a chapter here and there, but then I'm like, what was I reading about? Especially when it's a book that I bought because I wanted to teach me something. Can you relate with this? So many people are in this same boat that they get the book because it's from the expert, because it's from somebody that they like. There's somebody they want to learn more about. And then they get the book and they're like, oh yeah, I did. I remember wanting to read this. I'll have to make time for this. Yeah, sitting here on my desk is still a book that I ordered because I saw it online. I read all the information. I said, this is great. I want this information. And then I waited multiple weeks for it to actually show up. And by the time it showed up, I was like, okay, well, now I'm on to the next thing. When am I going to have time to read this now? And it just went in my stack on my desk. It's still sitting there. And I'm not going to show you the book because it doesn't matter. And it's nothing against that author. What they did was great. But I've got a book about this thick that's got probably amazing information in it. But you know how many other books I got to get to before I get there? And I need answers now. And I need stuff I can do now that even though I want to read the book, it's not on my top of my list. And this is how it can be for your audience too. So what I started to think about is like, how can we, one, give people action now? Because just like when you go and you find something, you're like, oh, this training would solve my issue. This would be a running point. And they're like, sign up and come next Thursday at 10 a.m. And I'm like, I have things to do next Thursday. I can't just stop everything, come to this training. Same is kind of true for your book, right? People can't just stop everything, sit down, give dedicated attention, read your book, make the notes, take the action steps, and have to figure all that out. And just making it easier in the deliverables, just like you could do an on-demand workshop and be like, okay, you can just watch it right here, right now. There's no need to wait. There's no need to have to go live in order to have this information. People are trained to be able to watch something, understand they're watching something, just like you are now, and be able to take that in. The same is true for books. So how can we take the effort that you are going to put into writing a book and make it easier on you? And how can we take your expertise and distill it down into simple bite-sized pieces? That's what I'm going to call a workbook. Is this a bite-sized piece instead of a book, which is a full-on multi-course meal? You see what I mean? There is a difference here in our delivery. And what really makes the difference for somebody who's in your audience, somebody who would be reading and engaging with this workbook, what is going to be the deliverable that they need? That if they could read this, they could go through this, they could get an action step done. After they go through your workbook, you want them thinking, I am one step closer to my solution. I am one step closer to solving this problem. I am one step closer to achieving whatever result it is that they want, that you can help them achieve. So instead of them getting a book on the whole topic, instead of them getting a book that they're going to have to spend dedicated time and figure out how they're going to make it through, and just looking at a book oftentimes is enough for people with 8-second attention spans to be like, oh, I don't have time for this. I can't pay attention for this. And instead of it just being words on a page, it can be visually enhanced. It can be short and pointed. It can be topical and give them action steps as they're going throughout. So they're doing this. They're breaking down their thoughts. They're answering questions. They're diving into the prompts that you are giving them that make sense, that help them take that step-by-step action and get results. This is the power of a workbook. Now, instead of 200 multiple pages, hardly any pictures, because we're adults. We don't get pictures in our books. What? Who came up with that rule? I'm like, I'm an adult. I need more pictures. I need more things to keep my attention going. And how can we bring that? How can we bring the fun, the engagement, and the attention grabbing assets into the workbook? They've been taken out of books. We got to put them back in for the adults who are your ideal audience. What is it that will help explain your idea, that will help to captivate them, keep them interested, keep them going through the workbook? And then also, instead of having to print, we can give it to them in a digital format so they can have it right here, right now, as soon as they see your ad, as soon as they read your post, as soon as they go through whatever, and they get the interest that they're like, I want this. Sounds interesting. I want to read this. There's no weeks of waiting for it to show up at their door. Whenever it is that they need it, in the evening, in the morning, in the middle of the night, they can download your workbook, have access, and dive in right now. And because your workbook is on one point that they're seeking help with right now, their interest is there. They're going to open, they're going to start to do it. And because it's built engaging and because it's built differently than what they're used to, they're going to stay and start paying attention. They're going to start going through the prompts. They're going to start reading and engaging with your workbook, probably in a different way than they would in 2 weeks when your book showed up physically. So we're switching the paradigm. We're switching how it's been delivered, and we're giving them an easier way. We're meeting them where they're at. We're making it easier on you to put things out. And then we have other options for how you can keep staying in front of them and keep engaging with them. Because imagine now if you could put out something once a month and now they're like, I want to subscribe to this person. I want to keep following what this person's doing because now they're going to take me on the next step and the next step. And now they start to feel like the progress is happening and they're engaging with you. There's so many ways and so many benefits to doing a workbook versus a traditional style book. Are you starting to grab this idea? Are you starting to get excited about it? Because this, to me, had made me, as the author, as the person delivering content, I was like, whew, that's a huge burden off of me. I can write 10,000 words. That's an achievable goal. Do you see the difference? 10,000 versus 100,000? That's much more realistic. That's much more achievable for you and all that you're doing, all the business activities you have going on. You need a good asset. Yes, I'm all for it. You need credibility in the market. Agreed. But do you need to take the time to write a book? Or could a workbook be the answer for you and be the asset that your ideal customer is looking for? And decide where you're ready to take action moving forward with creating your workbook in 2024 to get your message in the hands of your ideal audience.